Are you ready to quit your 9 to 5 job and start a business of your own? Well, you're in the right place, my friend. Welcome to the Second Act Success Career Podcast. I am your host, Shannon Russell. I am a former television producer turned business owner, career transition coach, and boy mom. My mission is to help you produce your best life. This podcast will teach you how to get from where you are now to where you want to be, and how to build a business that fits your life and lights you up. Let's get started. Hey there, and welcome back to the show. Today I'm joined by Lynnis Woods-Mullins. Lynnis is a dynamic, certified holistic living and wellness expert and a life coach. She specializes in empowering women over 40 to thrive in their mind, body, and spirit. She shares how she left her corporate career to begin a business way before life coaching was even a thing. Her philosophy: midlife is not the end, it's an opportunity to thrive. It's never too late to make a change, chase your dreams, and live joyfully. Lynnis knows what she's talking about, my friend. She is a married mother of 4 beautiful daughters and 7 grandchildren. Let's get started and welcome Lynnis to the show. Welcome to the show, Lynnis. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Shannon.
Well, I want to hear all about your career. You're doing such amazing stuff right now, but where did your career begin?
My career began very shortly after I graduated from college, way back in the Stone Age in 1979. My very first professional job was working as a recruiter for an agency. And that was when I was in Atlanta, because the school I went to, Spelling College, was in Atlanta, Georgia. And I stayed there for a couple of years and then transferred to the Bay Area and started working for Reynolds Aluminum in the same capacity as a recruiter. I kind of worked my way up to the human resources genre, so that when I finally left that particular career, I was a director and I was working for an HMO here in California. My career prior to that has taken me all around the United States and in some parts of the world in charge of recruitment processes and services. But I left that at 51, 18 years ago. And the reason why I left is that I had developed an anxiety disorder and I wanted to take some time off. I took a sabbatical for a year, and when it was time to go back, I decided I didn't want to go back because I didn't want to go back into the thing that caused my anxiety. I found out later through a lot of research and through learning more about wellness that my anxiety was anecdotal. It had to do with post-traumatic stress syndrome, in terms of how I found out about my mom being hit by a fire truck on her way to work. And also, I was beginning to enter menopause. There's such a thing as menopausal anxiety that many doctors might know about, but they don't, that's not what they always lead with. Usually they lead with other things, but that's what it was. It was a shortage of hormones that can cause a feeling of anxiety, usually low estrogen drop, high cortisol rise, that will cause those feelings. I didn't find that out until much later. And I decided to go into business for myself initially because I thought I would teach women over 40 to dance. I was going to open a dance studio. I am classically trained as a ballet dancer. And right before I went into corporate America, I danced professionally for about a year and I got hurt. But I've always still kept dancing all the time. And I thought I would do that. And when I opened up my dance studio and started teaching, I quickly found out that there were so many things that were wrong that need to be corrected with these women. Most of them were between 45 and 50, a little bit older than I. And I saw obesity, I saw cancer survivors, I saw women who were struggling with depression. There's a plethora of things that can happen in midlife that we normally just kind of toss aside and look for some kind of a band-aid fix. But the reality is that dance wasn't going to fix all that stuff. So I started going back to school and finding out what other kinds of things I could learn. And over the years, got certified in many, many modalities, opened up my Praiseworks Health and Wellness, which will be 18 years old in April this month. And began doing coaching services. And since that time, I've a magazine, I have a newsletter, I have a podcast, I have a membership program, a very large group on Facebook of 26,000 women, and over 150,000 women following me on the internet. And it's kind of funny because I didn't know anything about social media, graphics, none of that when I started. And back then, the idea of coaching online was not a thing at all like it is now. So there was no coach that I could hire. There were no platforms that could help me. I had to learn all of this from scratch. But you see, it's never too late. I was in my 50s when I did that. And now well into my 60s, I'm teaching other women now. I'm also a social media strategist as well as a wellness professional, teaching other women on how to launch their businesses, especially if they've traditionally been a brick and mortar and they just don't know where to start, because now it's overwhelming. There's just so many opportunities available to promote online. And you can just get down that rabbit hole and still wonder how come you're not making any sales, because I quickly learned a like doesn't equal a dollar. So you have to be strategic with your social media. But basically, that's how I got started.
Whew. There is so much to unpack. You have done so much. Amazing. But really, props to you for realizing that working in human resources was not where your heart was and you wanted to take care of your health. I think that's an important lesson for listeners to take, is to pay attention.
Well, over the years, human resources began to change and became more data driven than it was helping people. When I first got started with it in the late 70s, it was more about helping people, but it began to change and became more data driven. And I just wasn't in that. And I was responsible for the generalist, the benefits, and all that stuff. And it was a lot. And it was also in the medical field, in the HMO, and as an administrator, sitting in meetings, listening about putting butts in beds when I thought we were supposed to be about healing. It's a dichotomy. Want to heal, but you got to have the butts in the beds. You're a nonprofit, but you have to make money. So, it was just a disconnect for me in terms of the way we do medicine in here in the United States. And no shade on doctors. They're just a part of the system. They didn't necessarily create the system. But anytime you have a system that's about health and profit, there's going to be some conflicts. And so I wanted to be able to help women at least be proactive in their care, maybe even preventative, so that they don't end up having to take a lot of pharmaceuticals or, God forbid, get something cut off. And I think it has really helped thousands of women, but also helped me. I mean, I'm going to be 68 in June. I feel better now than I did when I was 51. So it's been quite a journey.
And you're not alone at all. I've spoken to women who are doctors, and the same thing, just get out because of all of the politics and the admin, and they need to get out, but find a way to serve their patients in different ways and reach people. You were kind of behind the scenes. You were in the back of the medical field, but then you decided to come out and really put yourself in the front and help other women. So while you were on your sabbatical and you were taking care of yourself, and you were realizing, I'm so sorry to hear about what happened to your mother and all of these things that really were coming to the forefront, did you know that you maybe wanted to start a business of your own and figure that out? Or were you just really floundering to find your way?
Didn't know at all. Entrepreneurism is not a thing in my family, although my dad was a lobbyist. Before that, he was an elected official. But entrepreneurs, no, I come from a long line of educators, not small business owners. So no, that was not anything at all. Ignorance is bliss. It might have taken me longer to turn a profit because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to make the idea I had in my head come to fruition. I found one site online that kind of spoke to me in terms of the kinds of things I wanted to talk about. Didn't have all the training either. I was a nutrition minor in college and I was a dance minor also. So I knew about the body and I knew a little bit about nutrition, but I didn't know what holistic really meant. I didn't have any certifications like I do now. And now it's in nutrition, aromatherapy, Pilates, yoga, holistic living as a health coach. All these things I got certified in, but that was over time. How I began to learn a lot is that one of the skills that I kind of segued from human resources to what I'm doing now is I had to interview a lot of people. So it was my husband's idea for me to get on internet radio, which is now podcast, but back then it was internet radio. So we bought a bunch of time on Voice America, which was the largest internet radio in the country at the time. And even though I didn't have a background in wellness, I was interviewing doctors and holistic practitioners and trainers. Not a lot of coaches back then, consultants, they were what they called back then. And that's where I got all of my training. And as a result, I ended up with all these books, hundreds of books that they would send me, because back then they were sending books and not PDFs, all of them in preparation for the interview. And I learned a lot and I began to get aha moments in terms of the kinds of programs I wanted to structure. The other challenge was, though, my demographic that I wanted to appeal to was not online like that at all. They were just discovering social media, but not really, and just beginning to think about the idea of possibly purchasing online because the whole idea of buying clothes online or anything that you can't touch, see, and feel first, giving money, not sure when it was going to get there, all that kind of stuff. So this was really a new concept. And so I had to overcome all of that over time. It was kind of journey trying to get people to understand what it was I was doing and why it was of value and how it could help them in terms of thriving and during their midlife journey. But I'm happy to say I'm still here and profitable. I didn't lose a home, didn't lose a car. And the time that I left to corporate America, I have 4 daughters. One was in junior high, 2 were in high school, and one had just started college. So it was pretty interesting. But since that time, they've all finished college, and now I have 7 grandchildren. So a lot has happened as a result, not just as a result of this business, but I do believe that they are as successful as they are because they had to take on some responsibility for their education and other things. They had to work and everything else, but it made them that much more successful as adults.
You know what? You being present, you're being a present mom
Mhm.
to your children. They were watching what you were doing. And I think that adds to their success as well. Seeing you change careers, build something of your own, go back to school, help others. That's all definitely paid into them being success in their own lives.
Well, I think it made a big difference in terms of how they encode the world. I do.
Hmm. Wow. So you start helping other women in midlife and you're going back to school, you're getting your certifications. What were you learning about women in midlife and what they needed from you the most?
I think women in midlife really needed the encouragement to put themselves on the forefront of their list instead of on the back. So many women are so far back on the back burner, their real needs, not just surface. Surface wise, you can look great if you're in a size 22, but if you're in a size 22, let's say, and you're 5 feet tall, something's going on in there that you need to address.
Mhm.
And many women just weren't addressing those kinds of things. That little pain here or there, little bit of hair loss, sleeplessness, all these different things, they just kind of didn't talk about or maybe attributed it to the change, which they didn't talk about. And so I saw a need just to get a dialogue going, to start talking about the things that we were going through as we age, and also to learn to embrace the aging process. I tell my age because I feel that it's a badge of honor. I have many friends that didn't make it to this age, but I also talk about my age because I know I don't necessarily look my age. And the reason why I don't is because of my lifestyle and the things that I do. My husband was asking me yesterday because I was kind of on him about taking care of himself and some things that he needs to do. And he said, well, how are you feeling? Are you healed? And I said, you know what? Actually, my blood pressure is good. My cholesterol is good. I've had that weight gain that happens as you get older, but I'm still, instead of a size 6, I'm a size 8. I'm still walking every day, still dancing. I feel better now. And I think I look better now than I was at 51. It's not so much that I don't have the wrinkles and now my hair is all gray because I had a hair dye allergy that I developed during this whole journey.
It
But I
looks beautiful, by the way. Your hair looks gorgeous.
Thank you. But I think what happened was it's about addressing who you are on the inside. And that begins to radiate out. And you do begin to look better. It's not just the looks. It's the other part. It's the energy. It's that spiritual connection that I think that we all need to have for ourselves that we sometimes let go of because we're so busy pouring into everything else. We play so many roles as daughter and sister and friend and mother, so grandmother, aunt, employee, neighbor, wife, all of these different roles that we play, which require a certain amount of nurturing and pouring into so that when it's time for us, you know, there's not a whole lot less. Slap on some makeup, put on your new size 22 outfit,
Yeah.
everything's fine. But inside, we literally are and figuratively are slowly dying. And there is a way, you can't stop that process, but you can certainly slow down the process and also impact how the process affects you. You don't have to age and die with tubes coming out of you or as a result of surgeries or out of your mind. You do not. My goal is to go in my sleep. Maybe the day before I just got through playing on the floor with my grandchildren or going to a hockey game or whatever the situation is. Fully active. Like my father. My father passed when he was 87 a few years ago, and he did have COPD from an earlier lifestyle of smoking. So we knew that one day that would catch up with him. But he did all the other things that he needed to do, take good care of himself. And one day the COPD has caught up with him. But he was leaving from just a wellness check appointment with his doctor, and he just was walking to the hallway and just passed out, and that was it. He didn't suffer. He didn't go through a whole lot of things. He could have lived longer. I mean, the lifeline in his family goes almost to 100, but that was an earlier lifestyle thing that he had done. Yeah. And really, the reason why I am like beginning to get on TikTok and doing a lot more talking to women who are 30 and younger is that if you want to get to where I am right now, feeling the way I am, doing the things that I am doing, you need to start now and start making different kinds of choices if you are making unhealthy choices, because it really does make a difference. And it's never too late, but you really can't turn back the hands of time in terms of what you might have done that was terrible. But you can certainly stop and take a look at what you've been doing and begin to make those incremental lifestyle changes that are going to pay huge benefits as you get older.
Oh, great lesson. Absolutely. And it's paying attention and seeing your doctor and checking the cortisol levels and the cholesterol and all of that, like you mentioned, because you don't know what's going on inside. So you do want to pay attention instead of just pushing it off and ignoring it until something bad does happen.
Or until you have an event. Absolutely.
Mm. Let's talk about the book that you co-authored, Power Up Super Women. Tell me all about it.
I was approached by a publisher, and he was looking for women who might have gone through some adversity and what they did to get past the adversity. And all the women talk about their particular adversity and what they went through. And it was so much fun. At this time, I've done maybe about 4 other collaborations, 4 other books through that time. Oh. That was my very first one. And it was a great experience. And the friends that I made as a result of working on that book are lifelong friends. The women are lifelong friends. And I think that as you get older, your friendships actually should grow even more so. And what happens a lot of times as we age and as we get busy raising kids and everything else, when you're well into your 40s and 50s, we have a tendency to self-select out and stop reaching out to our friends in our community of women. Check in with yourself. How is my day going? And we as women have a tendency not to do that. And it's not an easy thing any longer because of all of the distractions, all the notifications coming up over our phones. And now when someone rings a doorbell, you can lift your phone so you can see their face. And, you walk around with a computer in your hand. But we have to be careful about that. We are called human beings, not human doings. There's sometimes there's advantages in just being. And I have to reteach myself that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the check-ins, I'm big on that too. Check in with yourself. Are you okay? Are you happy? Are you feeling stuck? Because we don't do that. Slowing down is okay. Give ourselves some grace.
Absolutely.
But you're really busy with your magazine and your podcast. Is there anything you want to tell us about those?
My magazine, I have retired for now because I'm so busy building my membership program, the Vibe Wellness Women Network. I'm very excited about that. And it's a network of 23 wellness professionals, from MDs to holistic practitioners to therapists to trainers, nutritionists, fitness people, just a plethora of women with great backgrounds, accumulating to about 350 years of experience of working with women over 40 when it comes to health and wellness. And we give workshops. We also have a blog that's there. My podcast goes through there as well. And we have classes and resources that are listed there. So it's a great opportunity for women to begin to start asking the questions and having the opportunity to ask the experts. If you show up to the workshops, they're right there. And these are women who've been practicing for years. And I just feel so lucky to have them. They're from all over the world, from the United Kingdom to here in the United States. And these are women who I have worked with, who I collaborated with, and who've been on my podcast. The podcast, the Vibe Living podcast, has been on now for about 5 years. And I'm so excited to say that we are now in the top 8% of podcasts globally. And the kind of guests we have are mostly women addressing the needs and concerns of women 45 and over. Just recently, I posted a podcast about horses, a therapist who uses horses as part of her therapy. The clients don't get on the horses or anything like that, but Studies have shown, just like with dolphins, let's say, there's something calming about horses. They're very sensitive and they tune into how we are feeling. And she uses all of that to get her clients comfortable about talking about what's going on with them. She has her horses on her ranch. She meets with her clients and they go in, but she also does some kind of thing with Zoom with the horses. It's amazing. So I get a chance to talk to people who are doing different kinds of things holistically to help women to heal and to help women to be more preventative with their overall wellness.
Ooh, I'm going to link to all of this in the show notes because I think that membership is amazing and
And
can be so beneficial.
And I need to be talking more about it. My goal was to have 1,000 members by the end of this year. I'm way behind that goal. It's very affordable. Right now, it's only $19 a month, but I'm going to be doing specials. There's a free trial that's there. And every day we're adding more things. But it's a great, one of the things that I want to do with it is to have more community. We do have a Facebook group. I'm going to start doing Zoom calls for the membership and the contributors to come, those who are available to come as well, so they can just start asking questions and finding out more about their overall wellness. People come, roll with us, make suggestions. There's not really anything quite like this in terms of my vision of what I want to do. And I'm telling you, having access for a very small price, experts in that field is really a great, I'm thinking too, given the climate and what's happening with some of the people's insurances and other services, this is a very inexpensive way to get more information on how to preventatively heal or to how to heal instead of having to plot down hundreds and thousands of dollars.
And it's all about being educated. And that's what you're helping these women do, especially putting themselves first for a small fee and then meeting other women and other experts. And that's wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, it's time for our 5 fast cues of the week. Here we go. Name one thing that these different chapters in your life have taught you.
Resilience.
Mm.
Resilience. I'm not a quitter. If I'm passionate about something, I'm going to find a way to make it work. And I feel that, raising 4 daughters, it's no small feat. Having 7 grandchildren and being the hands-on kind of person that I am is no small feat. I've been married, my second marriage, for 24 years. That is no small feat. But I can say the one thing that has kept me going is resilience.
Now, would you recommend taking a leap into a big life change to your best friend?
Yes, because I did it. And I would not recommend to her anything that I haven't done before. That's interesting because within this big leap have been all these other leaps of new things to do. And I'm facing one right now. I keep putting it off. But many times when you hesitate about things like that, it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. I have a pool in my backyard with a diving board, which is unusual because they don't make pools or diving boards in California anymore. Every single season, when I first go into the pool for the first time and get on that diving board, I'm like, I haven't done it 1,000 times before. But once I get in there and jump in, it's like, oh, that was invigorating. Let's do it again. And that's very much how it is when it's coming to a lifestyle change. Just go for it. And more than likely, it's going to be okay. It's never as bad as we envision. And once you've done it, you have so many key learnings and you get the motivation, the mojo to keep doing it again, go a little bit further. So I'm all for that, taking that leap.
I think you just answered my next question, which is what's one piece of advice you would give to someone? But is it just take that leap or what do you think?
Take that leap and then give yourself grace. I believe in giving grace. I haven't always been kind to myself. In fact, my friends and my therapists remind me of that. Give yourself grace. If you don't do it, who else is going to do it? It can be very toxic if you're not graceful with yourself, if you're constantly beating up on yourself, constantly pointing out what's wrong and everything else. And if you are unfortunate, because some women have situations where they're living with someone who can't wait to point out what they did wrong, point out what's not quite right, or making wisecracks about what you do, or just basically belittling you. You think, well, who lives in that situation? But let's be honest, a lot of us have or do for whatever reason. That's all the reason why you need to give yourself grace and surround yourself in a community of women that can pour back into you. Because sometimes it's hard to give grace because you're feeling so bad about yourself as a result of maybe some successes that you didn't have, but also this other voice that's outside of you. And as you grow, and giving yourself grace, you begin to start making decisions about, okay, how much longer am I going to allow that to
Right.
take up real estate in my mind? And it's never too late to decide, you know what? I'm not. That's it. I'm done. Whatever that means for you. I think a lot of women have compromised when it comes to what they allow to be said to them, and in some cases, God forbid, done to them. But regardless of what's going on out there, let's face it, we know it's a new day. We know we do not have to put up with that kind of treatment any longer. But it starts, first of all, with recognizing how valuable you are and giving yourself grace.
So beautifully said. So, Lynnis, what else is next for you? What's your next act?
Well, I'm giving myself 2 years. And then at 70, we're planning on spending some time abroad if we're still welcome.
Yeah, really. Fingers crossed.
But we want to live abroad, and I want to either sell my business or have my daughters take over part of it. If I sell my business, I always will be involved, but I probably will go to another level, doing something else that's not as hands-on with what I'm doing right now, and maybe doing it in another country, but still impacting women globally. So I'm still going to be doing something, just maybe doing it a little differently.
Well, I've just so enjoyed this conversation, and I feel like we could talk forever, all day. But where can the audience connect with you? Where do you want them to find you?
The best way to find me is to go to my website at vibewellnesswoman.com. That's vibewellnesswoman.com. And there you'll find all of my social media. You'll get a chance to see the contributors, read our blog, take a look at the podcast, and hopefully join the membership and really get blessed with great information and community to help you to stay well in your mind, body, and spirit. Do you know what Vibe stands for? My brand Vibe. Do you know what it stands for?
No, tell us.
Vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and empowered. And that's what I believe all women should be for 40 and beyond. We should be vibrant. We should definitely be using that wisdom and intuition. And we should have that beauty that radiates from the inside out. And we need to feel empowered to live the kind of life that we want to live.
We are so aligned in our mission. I know my listeners are going to get so much from all of the advice and the wisdom you've shared today. Thank you for being here and sharing all of your wisdom and your gems today.
Well, thank you, Shannon, so much for inviting me. And thank you to all of your listeners. What a great podcast. I was listening to some of your excerpts yesterday. You have a great thing going. And it's just wonderful to be aligned. And I feel like I found a new friend. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining us. I hope you found some gems of inspiration and some takeaways to help you on your path to second act success. To view show notes from this episode, visit secondactsuccess.co. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. Reviews only take a few moments, and they really do mean so much. Thank you again for listening. I'm Shannon Russell, and this is Second Act Success.